Welcome to Haxby Shed. This Abwood vise came with my shaper and it was showing its age. In particular, the nut was almost stripped out and I had to make a new one. And the first thing I did was to make a test piece, a test nut basically, from this piece of brass. And I think it was 5/8 square thread 8 TPI. And having successfully made this test piece, I went on to make the whole new nut in bronze and steel. And that's what I'll talk about in this video. I hope you enjoy it.
So to say something about the design, well, I could have made a replacement nut entirely in bronze, but it would have required quite a big block of bronze. Bronze is expensive, but it also makes an awful mess when you're working on the lathe. So I decided instead to make the body of the nut in steel and then make a bronze insert in the center pressed in. To cut the thread, I used a small boring bar and ground up a piece of high-speed steel to match the thread form. On the lathe, I set up the gear train to cut imperial threads. The two white gears are a 40-tooth gear and a 63-tooth gear, which do not come with a lathe as standard, but I bought them from eBay and they cut from Delrin. So now I was ready to cut my test threads. I was quite happy with the result and it gave me confidence that I could cut the thread successfully. So now I moved on to make the body of the nut from steel. I started with a square blank, put that into the forejaw and machined the peg and then threaded it. Next I set up the steel body in the shaper and machined off the top corners. And then back to the lathe to machine out the centre to take the bronze bush, which would then be threaded. I swapped over chucks and machined up the bush in the 3-jaw, taking care not to disturb the body which was in the 4-jaw. And then I took the 4-jaw over to the press to press in the bush. Back on the lathe, I sized the minor diameter with a 1/2-inch reamer. And then I cut the thread just as I had done with the test piece. And now it was time to try it on the vise. I was quite concerned that I may have machined off centre and it might have bound, but in fact it worked perfectly. So then, assembly and some adjustment, and we're back to where we came in. Thank you for watching.